Hey guys, welcome to the video, and here today I'm just going to do kind of a little reveal presentation thing on my finished Nintendo Switch project. I was customizing one of my Switches, and yeah, it's pretty much like 99% done, although I don't know if I'm going to finish that 1%. I'll explain why later. I was going to do a live video on this, but I need to up my lighting game, that's one, and while my camera is great, I just thought pictures in this situation would be best, because I think they can show certain things a little bit better than video. Plus I edited some of the pics so they look even better still. I'm pressed for time today, and I'm going to be the next couple of days, so I'm just going to kind of, show you some pics. I took a bunch, we'll scroll through them, and then as we go along, I'll stop to point out, some details and some highlights. I'll let you know what this cost me, the few paints that I used, and yeah, some of my frustrating parts, and anyway, some other information you might find interesting. Down in the description in a few days, unless you're watching this at some time in the future, but in a few days, I will put a link to everything that I use, from the gloves to the little mask deal and the sandpaper, all of that stuff. All right, so let's get started with the first pick. Oh, and by the way, because I am pressed for time, I'm not gonna really do much editing here or retakes. So yeah, this is gonna be a little bit rough, so I apologize up front. All right, so here we go with the first pick, and you can see here, just to get a general idea of what it is that I did. And yeah, first let me start off by saying that this here, maybe it's coming off as looking a little bit on the bluish side, but it's not. This is actually very close to this purple here. It just looks a little bit blue in the pic, but it's not. It's almost identical to this here. You'll see what I mean later on. So here you just get some, again, general idea of what it is that I did. These buttons, these four here, and the four on the on this side, plus the two ZR and ZL buttons, those all came in a set, but I had to do the plus, the minus, the home, and the snapshot button. Those I had to do myself. And then the Joy-Con rails, I found out that through just testing them, that they're actually aluminum, so aluminum can be polished. I had to sand them down, which took about an hour each, and then I sanded down each one of the screws. This was extremely time consuming, and then I polished them with just regular polish I use for like wheels or car parts or whatever. And then all of these are actual decals, but they're like laser cut die cast decals, which are very thin, and honestly they just look like they're painted on. They're extremely thin, but they're pretty durable, and yeah, they look great. Okay, so let's move on here. There's a front view, a top view. Okay, so this is the second of two switches that I have, two modded switches. I decided to use this one for, testing this stuff out, because if something went wrong, I'm like, well, this is the switch that I use primarily to test things on in case I brick. It's this one. The screen is good, but the body has seen better days, and so yeah, there's a little crack there. The little grill here is broken, the little bits, the little plastic bits. So yeah, that's why I chose this one. But now that I know it came out nice, I just may actually do my good one. So I'll just need to do the back cover and the tablet part. I don't need to do obviously the Joy-Cons or the dock. And then here's some of the screws. I polished them, as you see right there. Okay, and then, and the shoulder buttons also came as part of that set. So it was the shoulder buttons, the four buttons on the front, and then the ZR and ZL. So here's the back of the dock. All right, and then back here, I replaced the normal Joy-Con screws in the back with stainless steel ones, and I did that for the four that are on the back of the Switch as well. I'll talk more about that in a bit. This is just a little white sticker that I put on here because I wanted to give it like a little ghost effect. It's the Switch logo deal. And then the bottom there, the sides, this is where the Switch rests on. I wanted to give a little bit of contrast in color, although you can't see it all that much, but it's purple, just like the Switch is. And then here we go. When you open up the dock, you get the little mushroom and a little 8-bit Mario, the little flying raccoon Mario. You can see here that the decal is much closer to this color, and that's how the bullet is in front. All right, and these were polished with the sandpaper as well. I just used 1000 grit to sand them really quick. And there we go, there's a few more pics. And here you can see it looks a little bit more purple like the Switch, and this is really how they look. It matches almost identical. And then just some more pics of the dock, the bottom of the Switch, a couple more screws that were polished. And I had to take out, of course, the guts of the tablet in order to do the trim, and that was the hardest part. The dock was the easiest to take apart, and it breaks into 6 big pieces, so it was super easy to paint. All right, and then the back, this is a couple more decals here. And then again, you could see these screws. These are replacement stainless steel screws. These are not the stock ones that were polished. These are actual replacements, except the 2 here and then the one on the top. All right, and there you go, some more pics and some more pics of the front. And again, I had to do the plus, the minus, and then the snapshot and the home button, but they came out good. They came out looking almost identical to the ones that the little set that I purchased. All right, so there you go. And I think the total cost for everything was maybe around 50 bucks or so. For the decals, I had to buy those painter's masks, but they came like a 5-pack, and at Walmart they were only $1. I had to buy some chemical gloves. They came 12 in a pack, and it was only $2 for those blue gloves that look kind of like doctor's gloves or whatever. So I used that. I spent probably like $8 in sandpaper. I used 180 grit, 320 grit, and then 1000 grit, and I sanded everything that I painted, and even these Joy-Con rails, I sanded down with the 180 first, then 320, and then 1000 grit. You can see here, I took this close-up pic so you can see some of the little imperfections. There are some things I couldn't take the black off of. The camera captures this really nice, but the human eye really doesn't. You can be really close up to this and you won't see this at all. It actually looks just completely polished, more like it does in this pic, and like it does in this one. It looks very shiny. Yeah, I just like the way everything came out. See how shiny it looks here? That's how it looks when you're looking at it. So anyway, yeah, let me show you here the 3 paints that I used. Just some more pics there, right? And that the bullet and the Nintendo logo for some reason just keep coming out looking a little bit bluish, but they're not. It's driving me insane. So there you go. All right, so here are the 3 paints. I picked these up at Walmart. Each one was $4. This one is gloss purple. This one is ultra matte white, and this is matte clear. And I went with the matte clear so it can remove any glossy effects. It leaves a nice sheen behind that just makes it look like it came from the factory that way. So I'm really pressed for time. Maybe in a couple of days, what I'll do is, if you revisit the video, or if you're watching at some point in the future, you'll see I'll put a link to everything that I use. But there's various tools here that I probably won't be able to list all of that, because it's like X-Acto knives, little tools for like glasses and things like that, very small, like screwdrivers, flat tip screwdrivers, the Phillips ones, just a bunch of little things, and then tons of common sense. You need to know how to paint stuff. Yeah, and there were things that you had to figure out along the way. I had to tape off, for example, the front of the tablet, and you need to use an X-Acto knife, but it has to be very careful. So I had to run my nail in between the divider. Yeah, and it just goes on and on. Anyway, it took about 16 days and a total of maybe 18 to 20 hours to complete everything. And everything that you see here, everything that's painted, that I painted, has between 4 to 6 coats of the paint, and then 4 to 6 coats of the matte gloss over it. So yeah, it took a little while, and I just had a ton of pieces of stuff lying everywhere. And ironically, the only thing really that you have to paint both sides to, because not pretty much you don't have to paint the two sides of anything here, because most of the stuff, only one side is exposed and the other isn't. Mainly it's just this flap right there is the only thing you had to paint the inside and the outside of. Everything else, really, you could get away with just painting one side of it because the other isn't exposed. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Let me know what you think, and if this inspired you in any way, if you like it, or if you just want to show some love or appreciation to the channel, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. So tomorrow it's Hacking Mining Monday news and info, and I'm going to be busy the rest of the week, but I will be putting up videos. Again, guys, much love going out to all of you. Be careful, take care, and I'll see you on the next one.